Hi everyone, this is Professor Muldrow, and in this video I am going to show you what you need to do to download and install the Android Studio tool for our COSP 230 course. Now, the Android Studio tool is available on this website. The URL is developer.android.com/studio. Once again, that's developer.android.com/studio. Now, if you want the latest and greatest version of Android Studio, you come right here to this button where it says download Android Studio. And the current version, the latest version out there is called Narwhal. However, these versions tend to happen rather quickly. If you want an older version like the one I'm using, which is called Koala, you scroll down here to where it says Android Studio Downloads, and you can click on this link that says Download Archives. When you do, first you must scroll through all this and agree to the terms. Now, as you can see, the most recent version is Narwhal, which has several links to click on. The version I'm currently using, which I'll show you in this video, is called Koala, which is right here. Koala came out in 2024. As of the time of this recording, which is 2025, we have since released Ladybug, Meerkat, and Narwhal. That's 3 brand new releases in a year. This happens with Android Studio. I'm going to demonstrate Koala since that's what I have on my PC and it's working. If you want to use Narwhal, that's perfectly fine. There should not be a huge amount of difference between the versions. Now, I will tell you this about Android Studio. You need to have patience when working with this tool. When you initially download it, it's a big file and it takes some time to download and install. When you first create Android projects in it, it also will be slow and takes time. So do not lose patience with Android Studio. I'll also tell you it's not the most user-friendly tool in the world, and you need to do things exactly as you're told. It can be rather non-forgiving. Fortunately, for all of the homework assignments that we're going to do, I have PowerPoint slides within the files area of our course in Canvas. You need to use these PowerPoint slides. These are the slides for Chapter 1 that I'm just going through here, which shows you here's a website to download Java, and there is the URL to download Android Studio. Please use the PowerPoint slides, which will be available to you in the files area of Canvas every week. They contain exact instructions as to what to do. They contain Java code, which will not be needed for the first project, but will be needed for projects after. It will show you the Java code that you will need. Well, eventually, when you download Android Studio, you get an icon. Mine is not on my desktop, but I have it down here in my menu bar. And when you click this little icon, Android Studio comes up. Here's the initial screen. Now, if you have never used Android Studio at all, your initial welcome to Android Studio screen won't look like this. It looks like this for me because I've used it many times before. What it will look like to you is something like this. You'll see this come up and you'll have to go through this slide which says next. This screen which says the type of setup you want is standard. You'll select the theme you want, Darkula or light. And then this verify setting window, you just select next, and eventually you get this. This will be your initial screen if you have never done anything in Android Studio. To create a project, you want to click on the New Project button, which is the plus sign. Once you use Android Studio, you create at least one project. All your previous projects are listed right here. you would then click on the New Project button. Now, every time we create a project in here, you're going to want to select Empty Views Activity. Not Empty Activity, Empty Views Activity. Click Next. You'll give it a name, whatever the name is. But another important setting is the language. By default, the language will come up Kotlin. We're not going to use Kotlin in this course. We're going to use Java. So be sure that that language says Java. And then you have a minimum SDK. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. What you want to do is pick an API, an application program interface. I have a whole bunch installed. Nougat, Oreo. They like to name them after desserts. But what you want to look at is pick, well, I picked Nougat as the minimum. It says it'll run on approximately 98.6% of devices, something that's a very high percentage. This one seems to work and cause the least amount of trouble when I try to compile something. All right, I've already created projects, so I'm going to hit cancel. But what you would do when you create a project is you would hit finish. Now let me show you a project that I have already done. Chapter 1. In fact, this will be the first, one of the first types of things you'll do for homework. Now, even though I've created this project, it takes a while for it to load. So again, you must be patient with Android Studio. Okay. Now, when you open Android Studio for the first time, what you'll most likely see is something like this. Wait, not that. This. You'll have these two screens here, a white one and a blue one. This is Design and Blueprint. We really don't use the Blueprint for anything. All we want really is the Design one, the one in white. So what you do is, to get rid of the Blueprint, you go up to this kind of blue box up here, and I'm sorry if this is small print. You just select this, and as you can see in this menu, Design and Blueprint has a check mark. Just click on Design, and the blue one, which we never use anyway, goes away. Now, a couple more things you need to do. Once you get your project created, which may take several minutes, you come over here to the menu icon. That's the 4 lines right here. Click on it, and let's go to Tools. All right, the first thing we're going to do is go to SDK Manager. That's Software Development Kit Manager, under the Tools menu in the menu bar. And what you'll do is you go, the first tab here is SDK Platforms. I am currently running Android API 35. According to this, the most latest and greatest version is Android API 36. If you would like to go to the most recent version here, please feel free. I've selected a few more, like Android 14.0, upside down cake. And if you want to install whatever ones, like, Nougat, the one I pick as the minimum SDK, you can. I would say mostly focus on the API, either 35 or 36. Then you go to SDK Tools. So, by the way, to select whatever you want installed, you click on this box to put a check mark in it, and then you click on the Apply button in the bottom right. Under SDK Tools, I would say you need probably the Android SDK Build Tools, which is 36. Let's see here. I'm going to circle some things you will need. These 3 things that I have check marked: Android Emulator, Hypervisor Driver, SDK Platform Tools. Those you'll probably need too. And then this last one, this Intel x86 Emulator Accelerator. Although it says deprecated, I have it installed. In the past, however, that particular tool where it says Intel x86, normally you have needed administrator privileges on your Windows PC to install that particular tool. You might want to double check on that. Since it says Intel, one more thing I should mention. In the past, we've had some issues with trying to run Android Studio on an AMD processor. That may have improved over time. I don't know for certain. I've always used Intel. Well, it's been a long time since I used an AMD processor, but mostly I used Intel. Students have used a Mac in here, and Android Studio seems to work fine on a Mac. So we've had more issues with a Windows PC with an AMD processor than we've had with a Mac with Android Studio. Go figure. Oh, one more thing. I can't guarantee that Android Studio will work on a Chromebook. You really need either a Windows PC with an Intel processor or a Mac. That's the best way to go. Since I've already installed everything I'm going to need, I'm just going to click cancel. What you would do is you would put check marks and everything you want installed, and then you would click the apply button. Okay. Now let me go through. Everything I'm going to go through is in the chapter 1 PowerPoints. What you have over here on the right is your project view. Your main, right here where it says main activity, this is your main Java file. This is where your Java code goes. The activity main.xml file, that is here under the res folder. Res is short for resources, and then under there you find the layout folder. We'll go over more of these folders as we progress in the course. But this contains this right here. This contains what your simulated cell phone will look like. Now, one more thing, you can change the view on this. If you come up here to these 3 buttons near the top left, if you click the 4 lines, that's the code. This is XML code, not XHTML code, it's XML code. We'll be doing more work with XML code later on. If you click the 3rd button, you're in design mode. And if you click the middle button, you get both. You get the XML code on the left, you get the design mode on the right. For now, we'll just stick with design mode. We'll be coming back to the XML later in the course. Now, one more thing you should do is you need to create a virtual device to run your projects on to see how they look. The way you do that is like this. You go back to the menu icon, the 4 lines here in the top left, go back to Tools, and now you go to Device Manager. We'll click on that. And over here in the right, you get a Device Manager window. As you can see, I have 2 devices installed. If you want to install a new device, you click on this plus symbol right here. And in the main menu that shows up, you select Create Virtual Device. Now, I will say for this course, there are really only 2 devices you will need. In the phone category, by default, I would recommend this one, Pixel 8 Pro. That is one you will need. In the tablet category, I would recommend Pixel Tablet. So the 2 devices you will need, you'll install these one at a time. You can't install both at the same time. You definitely should install this one right now. Under the phone category, Pixel 8 Pro. Eventually, under the tablet category, you will need Pixel Tablet. But again, you can only install one device at a time. Back to the phone category. The way you would install this is once you select phone, you select the device you want installed. Again, I've already installed it, so I'll take you up to the last slide, then I'll hit cancel. But you do this, you select next. All right, and now you must select the system image, what API you want this to go with. I have already downloaded and installed API 35. If you want to do API 36, as you can see, it's grayed out, but there is a download icon next to it. You would have to download API 36 and have it installed, which might take a few minutes. So be patient with Android Studio. Since I've already installed API 35, I'm going to stick with that. But you may choose whatever you want. If you're not going to do API 35, I'd recommend the next one up, 36. Then I do next. And then you get to this screen, and this is the last one. The virtual device gets a name. It's a Pixel 8 Pro. There's your API 35. Your startup orientation is always portrait. Preferred ABI is optimal. All you have to do on this slide, on this window, I'm sorry, is click the Finish button. And your device will install and will show up in this device manager list right here. Since I have already installed the Pixel 8 Pro 35, I'm just going to hit cancel here. But if you have not installed it, you would click Finish. There. And now we can get rid of the device manager. And that is what you need to do to be ready to use Android Studio. In my next video, I'll show you what your very first project will look like. It'll look very similar to this one right here. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email at kmuldrow@lbcc.edu.